Jimi Hendrix, some would say the best rock guitarist of all time. I'd actually go for the great Rory Gallagher. But one thing that all great guitarists of that era tended to have in common was the famous Marshall amp.
Yeah, you've been drooling about that all afternoon. It's very sad because he hasn't even got a guitar, bless him, to plug into it. I thought proper rock stars were supposed to smash up their amps and guitars. But anyway, one has survived and Kevin Langdon's been to have a listen.
To most rock music fans, Jimi Hendrix is the ultimate guitarist. Richard Dickinson is a big fan. So much so that at the age of 15, he scrimped and scraped to buy this Marshall amplifier for £70 that once belonged to his hero. In recent years, it's been stored away. But after unwelcome guests arrived at his home in Stroud, he's decided to put it up for sale.
Because we live in an old cottage and we've got mice. And I could hear the mice in the built-in wardrobe where I'd been keeping it. So I took it out just to check that it was all right, which thankfully it was. Thought, well, I ought to plug it in and see whether it still works, which it did. And then I thought, well, no, I've got it out. Might as well take a couple of photos and just put it on eBay and see what happens.
Any rock and roll memorabilia about Jimi Hendrix is highly sought after. Richard Dickinson's certain that his amp is the real thing. It has the logo of Hendrix's band and still bears the damage where it once fell onto the stage. He has the original receipt, and next week he's visiting the manufacturers for their provenance as well.
To a Hendrix fan, to a guitar player, to somebody who knows anything about rock music, it's the Holy Grail. As far as amplifiers go, this is the one.
There's been a lot of interest in the amplifier. Bidding has already passed £4,000 and there's still a week to go. Richard Dickinson's hoping for at least 5 figures. He says that after spending 30 years as an electrician, he now wants a change so he can play his music full time. Kevin Langdon, ITV West News, Stroud. Richard Dickinson's life could be about to change forever, and all because of the old amplifier he bought for £70 when he was 15. The Marshall 100 Plexi is very rare. Only 4 of them were ever made, and this one was owned by Jimi Hendrix.
It could be dynamite. This is like finding a Van Gogh in your attic, except that this was a Hendrix amplifier in a wardrobe. I better go out and check out the wardrobe, see if there's anything else in there.
The amp was put up for sale on the internet, but has now been withdrawn. That's because it's temporarily with the manufacturers, to hopefully confirm that it is a piece of rock and roll history.
Well, over the last week or so, it's gained so much interest. We feel that it would only be fair to be sure of exactly what we've got. We know what we've got, but Marshall have come together with us and are going to look into it a lot deeper and see if we can get that final authentication. I think it's very important.
When they took the amp to Marshall, Richard Dickinson even met up with the legendary Jim Marshall himself.
It was sound checked while I was there, and I've got to say, when that amplifier was kicked up into a big room, it was like the clouds parted, a shaft of sunlight came down, and everybody just said, whoa, that's the one.
And if the amplifier turns out to be what everybody thinks it is, then there are rumours it could be worth up to $1 million. Kevin Langdon, ITV West News, Stroud.